If you are a girl or a woman and you're interested and very curious about how female friendships actually work, then this might be just a video for you. I'm going to dig in very deep, and whether you are watching it directly or you're sitting in traffic and listening to me in the background or cleaning or doing something else, you can do that because it's going to be a very long video. I've done a lot of research because I love this subject, but I'm also going to do just some casual talk. So I'm going to combine the two, and I will use very easy vocabulary and words. So I'm not going to name like professionals or use very difficult terms. English is also not my first language, and I'm also not a professional. I'm just going to talk to you guys about my passion. But I have a lot of books and I read about a lot of things, and I've also loved digging in research, and I'm going to talk about that professional aspect and adding it to our more casual personal lives, and let's see what we can make about it. But it's going to be quite interesting, so grab your teas like I did. My tea is right here, and let's get right into it. So female friendship. So it doesn't matter if you're watching this, whether you're 10 years old, 20 years old, 30, 50, 40, 60, every age group can be defined by this video because we're talking about female friendships. And what I'm going to talk about, whether you're in college and you're 18 or 20 years old, or you're someone in your 60s, it will be the exact same thing. That is actually very interesting, but it is. And one of the things, like the first book that I ever read about this subject was like this thick of a book, but I'm only going to explain this book in 2 sentences because it's very like deep and I don't need to get into it too much. But basically the book was about who is more competitive, men, men with each other, or women with each other. And a lot of people thought that men would be more competitive than the women, but they did a lot of research and a lot of, I don't know, science was used and this and that. At the end, basically, the result was very shocking that women are actually more competitive with each other than men are. And it was a very groundbreaking book at the time because it was published years and years ago, and back in that time women didn't have that much rights. So for a psychologist to say such a thing, that women are actually more competitive when men were going to war and they were like fighting and women were just sitting at home, it was a very groundbreaking book. But when you compare it like years and years later now, we can actually all admit that yes, women are way more competitive with each other than men are with each other, and we can't do anything about it. So, and you can't blame the women for it, and there's also not really an explanation for it other than it is in our nature. It is in the female nature to be more competitive. And the only reason for that is that women are more competitive with each other because they want to take care of their kids and they want to give the best resources there are to their kids, not even for themselves. Like before they get married, a lot of women, when they use the term, for example, gold digging or wanting them being materialism, a lot of people associate that with the woman being selfish and only wanting to take care of herself and having expensive designer items and going on expensive trips. But actually what we don't know when you don't have children yet is actually that you are kind of testing the waters out for your future children. We women, especially when you get those children, we don't actually care about ourselves. Like our children are our treasure. They're like our little diamonds. And when those come into the world finally, we don't care about anything else than they are. Of course, we love our family. Of course, we love our husbands, but nothing compares to the woman's love for her children. And all the female friendships and all the relationships we have with men, with girls, with women, with our family friends, with everyone surrounding us, it all comes down to us women wanting to protect our children. That's it. It's very interesting. So it all comes down to women wanting to provide for their children. When women try to undermine each other's success, it's maybe based on an evolutionary instinct to compete for limited resources like food, shelter, and a mate. But unlike men who are also fighting for certain assets, women cannot put themselves into harm's way because they need to protect themselves and their children. So, you know, they cannot go out and fight, you know, use like a sword and a gun. So what do women use? What do women do in order to still be able to fight but yet protect their children and let their children and themselves be safe at home? Is using informal ways. So most women back in the days developed adversarial skills that were less direct and very, very manipulative. So we all know what those skills are. They also did a research that for today's competitiveness, so you know, it's in our nature to for the resources, but right now it's easier to get those resources than years and years ago. But today, the female ideology, like the ideals of being a woman and what most women to nowadays are competing about, consumerism, media portrayals, perfection seeking, and relationships. And that is also nowadays what we see all over social media. Women and girls bragging about how beautiful they are, how amazing their lives are, how amazing their husband is treating them with gifts and things like that, because that is today's ideal basically for a lot of women. And that is what all these women are competing with and being jealous with, is trying to brag on social media, on platforms like Instagram nowadays, that they have all of this, and a lot of women are also threatened by that. That is also very interesting to see that the roles are kind of shifting with social media, with everything. Like years and years ago, you couldn't just brag about anything and anyone on social media, but right now it's so much easier for women to do that. Everything that's happening in our body biologically is still the exact same thing that is happening like it did years and years ago. Male competitiveness tends to show more in like fights, in very abusive discussions, you know, hard words shouting to each other. And again, that is also what happened years and years ago. If they want to take land, or the religions and cultures fighting with each other, it's like men with swords fighting each other. But women don't do that. So women tend to be fighting and being into competition with each other using the more indirect version. And they used to do this 100 years ago, but still are doing it till this day. So the methods women are using: gossiping, negativity, sabotaging, gaslighting each other, boasting, and even mimicking, downplaying the successes, and we're going to talk about that later on in this video, and discrediting a person in front of everyone else. And that happened to me as well, like someone that you thought is close to you and all of a sudden is discrediting you in front of a very large crowd of people because they want to bring you down. A lot of women do that. The goal of this behavior is to reposition you further down the social rank so you cannot get as much resources. So you're less able to secure the assets that you want, so your rivals, your other female friends, can get them. So for our ancestors, that might have been a shelter above our head, like food, a mate, but nowadays it can also be a better position at work, a large following on social media. And yes, competition can be healthy, but with a lot of women it also gets a lot of out of hand. So we all need to know that every friendship there's a little bit of competition, but you don't need to go out and remove all your female friends from your life, because a little bit of competition is healthy, but it's just the balance. Like if it gets out of hand, you know that this person is not sincere, but having a little bit of competition here and there is definitely not bad for you. It can actually also motivate you. So don't get rid of your female friends. That is not what this video is about. Female friends are also an amazing thing that you can have in your life, and you really need them if you have them, and if you don't, it's okay too. A very interesting research has been done a couple of years ago, and they put 6,000 participants in that research, and they were from 3 countries, 1 country in Europe, the US, and Australia. So it was like from across the world. So you cannot say that it's one country and maybe it's because of that. Like those countries, they're all somewhere else in the world. And so 6,000 participants all come from either 3 of those countries. And in those 6,000 participants, you either have male friends and women friends. So women being friends with each other and men being friends with each other. And after a year of being friends, they all had to fill out a survey with a lot of questions. And the questions were very interesting. And again, so they had to ask the male friends and the female friends, what would you do if your friend had more resources? Would you be more jealous? And they would have to go into a lot of details, of course, but I'm going to make it very basic and simple. And after that question, they also had to specify what would they do if their friend had more resources. Like, would they bring them down? Would they do something? And at the end of that result, across all three countries, the result was exactly the same. And again, they noticed, the researchers, that analysis of data revealed that from all three countries across the world, women were more in competition with each other than the men were. And the women were very highly in competition with each other compared to the men. The men were more able to form groups, they would form allies and try to get those resources together, help each other get those resources, and the women would tear each other apart. And in addition to that, if that wasn't already enough to prove that women were more competitive, the women would also use different resources and indirect forms of competition, like gossiping and spreading rumors. And we are going to talk about those things and put them in the things that happen in our daily lives for you to understand our female friendships better and deeper. Women don't know how to be on a team, unfortunately, the same as men do. One of the researchers' name, and she wrote a book about, and I remember her name because her name is right here on the shelf across from my living room, and I can see it, is Joyce Benessence. And she wrote a very interesting book, and it was about like females competition for finding a mate, basically. And in that book she wrote a little paragraph that is very interesting. She tells basically that competition tends to corrode female relationships more than men's relationships do. Men can easily return to working with each other, to cooperation, than women can do after being in competition with each other. So even if men are in a competition with each other, they can still be friends right after, but women tend to have a lot of difficulty doing so. The three words that a lot of women use for each other and a lot of women describe their friendship with each other is jealousy, cutthroat, and being mean, and that all three of those with a smile. That is how a lot of women describe each other's friendships, unfortunately. Female friendships, unfortunately, tend to end or start to kind of dissolve right when the competition starts to be too much. So females are always in competition with each other, but when the competition is a little bit getting out of hand, basically, that is when the female friendships kind of dissolve. Like when one person is kind of winning the upper hand and doesn't want the other person anymore. We're going to talk all about those things later on in this video. That is one of the main reasons why female friendships end. And we're going to apply this right now in daily life. So for example, when you have two celebrities, just pick out two, like a male celebrity and a female celebrity. When you read the gossip pages, when you read tabloids, when you read Instagram pages, when you watch YouTube videos, what do we see a lot? Are you interested in Justin Bieber's diets? Are you interested in Justin Bieber losing 5 kilograms, or I don't know, Usher having 2 inches of his waist, or Usher dyeing his hair black? No. But when you put in a female celebrity, and celebrity doesn't matter, but I'm just putting in celebrity so it's easier for you to understand. But when you put in a female celebrity instead of those male leads' name, then things kind of change, from her losing 1 pound being in the tabloids, from cutting her hair off for 1 inch, Everything will be put in the tabloids when it comes to female women and when it comes to women, girls. And why is that? Because women love to tear each other apart. That is also a part of our competition. When women, for example, it's a celebrity, you cannot reach her, you cannot be her status. What do women do? They tend to go back to gossiping and spreading rumors because that was mostly one of the only ways. And again, this is all in our nature. This is not something that you can do about. And not some women don't gossip a lot, some women don't gossip at all. Every woman is different, but we're talking general here, okay? What do women do when they want to be someone or they're jealous of someone because this person has more resources? Again, everything to female friendships comes down to resources. Don't forget that. Everything comes down to resources. And again, it's not for us, but for our children, future or children you already have right now or you're going to have. It's for them. So for example, this celebrity, this girl, she definitely has more resources. You know, she has a lot of money. She's maybe dating someone who has a lot of money. She's going on these beautiful trips, and her children are definitely going to have a lot of resources. You as a woman feel threatened by that. You either feel threatened by her because of her you cannot find your mates. So biologically, that is basically how you can put it. And because you cannot reach this person might be in a total different country, because a celebrity is not a friend. What do women do in order to feel better about themselves? Is to start spreading rumors, to start gossiping about this person, to make each other feel better. Women tend to bond with each other by not lifting themselves up, by not like bragging and complimenting. Women tend to bond with each other, bond over with each other by tearing each other down and tearing yourself down in front of the other women for them to feel better about you. We're also going to talk about that deeper. So that's why when a woman does something, for example, when a woman does something, it's all over the news, it's all over the tabloids, it's all over the internet, television, YouTube. But when a male celebrity would do something, it's just spread under the rug because it's not interesting. The women don't see this man as competition, and men don't really read tabloids that much. It's usually the audience. Who are they? They're not men, they're women. So think about that and think about, like, why do women like that so much? Men are not interested in Ariana Grande changing her hair from brown to black, or Ariana Grande losing 1 pound and what her diet is. It's usually women, right? So women are very scared that other women might be entitled to the resource that they want. So women like to be friends with other women who tear themselves down and don't lift themselves up. And what I mean with that is, female friendships, how do they tend to form? That is also what I see in my daily circle with the friends I hang out with, especially the deep ones. So if you look to the friendships you have that are the best friendships, so I'm not talking about the casual friends, just regular friends. I'm talking about like your best friends or the person that you hang out with the most. Usually us women, what do we tend to do? We are not going to brag. We're not going to talk to our friend about how amazing our life is and how amazing and beautiful we are. No. Even if a woman tends to get a compliment like base, for example, oh, you have such a beautiful face. So, and then the woman who received the compliment, so the other woman won't feel bad, will basically say something like, oh no, I'm just wearing a lot of makeup, but thank you so much. Or, oh no, I'm just feeling a little sick, but oh, do you really think so? Thank you. That's very sweet. You look beautiful as well. Those kinds of compliments. So women don't like it when another woman is self-promoting. They like it when she really self-faces herself. So they prefer other women to be self-facing instead of self-promoting. They don't like women who brag about themselves, because again, that is competition for you. Those women can take the resources that you want for your future kid. those women might take the resources that you want to reach because they're promoting themselves and they have this amazing life and there are these amazing things happening to them, and they're fighting and they're climbing. And that is why a lot of bonding in female friendships happens by complaining about their lives, about their boyfriends, about their husbands, about their children, about their living room, about all the problems that they have. So the other woman doesn't feel threatened by her friend. And that is most of the time how best friends and very close female friendships form. That is the differences between superficial female friendships who just kind of use each other by being in each other's presence here and there, and the more deeper friendships, and those are more into trust. It's more like, I trust you with all the dirt in my private marriage or with other friendships that I have. Please don't tell that to anyone. I'm putting out my vulnerability here to you. I'm giving you my vulnerability. I trusted you. I hope I can trust you with this information. And basically you're giving this person the dirt on you. You're giving her away your private, I don't know, some things that you wouldn't have shared with anyone else either. And it kind of gives them like a cause, like, oh, if you do something, I can actually tell all the dirt that you told me. I have some dirt on you because you told me all this information about your personal life, about everything that, you know, doesn't go well in your life. So I can take away your resources if you are trying to outshine me, or if our friendship isn't going the way it is supposed to be going. I have something on you, so you won't take the resources away from me that I am eyeing. That is how female friendships work. And it is very interesting. So it is the exact opposite of bragging about their lives. Basically, why did my husband leave me? So it's more like negative problem solving kind of discussion that happens a lot. Complaining about their husband, complaining about their boyfriend, complaining about not being able to lose weight and what you can do about it. Then you really start to bond, because that is how women bond. They feel good about this person's life, unfortunately not going 100% well, and they start to getting to relate to each other. But when, for example, like, you are a woman, right? And if like another woman would sit across the room from you and would constantly be bragging about how amazing her life is and how beautiful she is and this, a lot of women would feel threatened by that. They would be like, oh, this woman has all the cards in her favor and she might take away the resources that I have so hard been working on getting. So I'd rather not have this person in my life. This person might threaten the house and the family that I am so strongly trying to create. So I don't want her getting anywhere near that. Women tend to, so very close female friendships tend to focus more on things that are not going very well in their life. Again, this is saying to your other best friends or close friends, saying like, hey, look, I'm opening up myself to you. I'm not a threat. I'm putting out my vulnerability. You have some dirt on me. So now you can reassure that I'm not going to take away those resources from you. Or if I would do that, you have all this dirt on me and you can just use that as revenge, basically. So this isn't something that sometimes I heard girls or women say this, oh, nowadays friendship, they're just not as it used to be. Like, friendship from these days, it's not as sincere as it used to be. No, female friendships has always been this way. 1,000 years ago, 100 years ago, 50 years ago, 10 years ago, it has always been this way. Women have always been in competition with each other. That's why you also hear a lot of women say, I'd rather be friends with men. It was so much more easier being friends with boys, men, than being friends with girls. Also on the workforce for women, I used to work in atmospheres where it was predominantly women, and that is such a difference from, for example, what my husband has to tell me about his work atmosphere where it's predominantly men. There is a huge difference. With men, there's more respect. They respect the hierarchy. There's more working in a team together. There's not much jealousy. Men are also very competitive with each other, but they're very competitive in a respectful manner, and they also know their place and also accept the hierarchy. But women are very easily threatened by one another, and it's very hard to find sincere female friendships, because sincere female friendships also usually get formed by complaining about their lives and telling this other person like, hey, my life is not as perfect as you thought it is. I'm telling you my secrets. And that is how these kind of friendships form, but that is actually not a good base on how to form your friendships. So when you come at a certain age, when you are, for example, married, that is also why a lot of women, when they get married, they tend to focus more on their husband and their children, and they forget about all their friends. Why is that? Because us women, our children are our everything. We have our resources. So this woman that has let all of her friends go, she's basically thinking like, okay, I have all my resources right here. I have everything I need. I don't need my friends anymore. They're just competition, and I just want to get them out of the house and get them out of my life, and I don't want anything with it. And sometimes they regret it after a couple of years, and they wish they would still have some human interaction with other women. But a lot of women are actually very happy with not having any female friendships, and a lot of women have only male friendships because it's less drama, it's less competition, and it's just more sincere. Women's feelings are always, even though we're very women's feelings, even though we're very emotional human beings, like we're an emotional roller coaster, and we have so many emotions when you compare it to the males. But women's friendships are also more superficial, and the like this layer, women tend to tell it, and the layer underneath, you never know it's women. So there's always a little hidden reason behind most of the things women do, unfortunately. And this is also with friendships. Most of the time when women want to be friends with someone and they have never had this closeness before, you as a woman should really think before you become friends with this person, especially if they really want to get close to you fast, because they want to get something from you. That is usually with female friendships. I'm not saying that sincere friendships with women never exist. Of course that exists, but it is very hard to find, and sometimes you will learn it the hard way. Sometimes you will learn it 10 years later. Sometimes you will learn it 2 years later. And the best thing for you as a woman, if you want to kind of test the friendship that you have with, for example, your best friend or someone who's very close to you, and you want to kind of test that friendship out, have it better than them and see if they're going to be happy for you or if they are not going to be very happy with that. You can also, like, if even if things are not very good in your life at the moment, just pretend something is happening and look at their reaction. Are they sincerely happy for you, or are they kind of fake happy? Or do they pretend they are happy but want to get things out of you and want to use you because you're getting that? So that is very important, and usually 99% of the female friendships are either being friends with you because they want something from you or from your life, or they're jealous and insecure and they don't have anywhere else to go, but they're not sincere at all. And then you have the third one, and that is only 1% of all female friendships, which is still a lot, and those are the sincere friendships. And this is even with sisters. Of course with sisters, because there's like a blood relationship, and because they've known each other since one of them or both of them was a baby, there's of course a different bond. But with female friendships, you should be very careful, because this biological thing in women, it will never end. It's not like, oh, when they are over a certain age they will mature. No, I think over a certain age it will be harder and harder for women to find other female friends, because they now know how female friendships work. When you are in your 20s or in your teens, it's very hard to kind of understand how girls' friendship work. But right now I'm in my 30s and I've kind of figured it out. And do I have any female friends? Superficial ones, yes, a lot. So I have a lot of superficial friends, but I have not one good friend female. Why? Because I have not had a good experience with that, especially when you are trying to better yourself. Women will not appreciate that when you're trying to, even though they will pretend to like it, pretend to be happy, it's just not it. And the people who will enter your life then are usually people who want to use you for something. They want to either lose weight like you did. You know, they see how beautiful your body is and they think like, oh, you know, I want to be like her. I want to lose weight. But as soon as they get to that weight, and they have nothing else to use you for, they will be gone. And women need to be very careful for those friendships because those happen a lot. You have good grades at school, she wants to be friends with. Like always, when a woman approaches you and she really wants to be friends with you and really is close, but it's kind of weird, think about why this person wants to be friends with you. All the things, all the women, and sometimes, you know, you meet someone by coincidence and it's more like coming from both sides. I feel like those types of friendships are more genuine than when one woman girl kind of really pursues being friends with you. That is very dangerous and that should really ring all your alarm bells, and you should be very aware about why this person wants to be so close to you. Female friendships. I have gone to different countries, I have gone through different schools, and I've met a lot of people. And just, I think, 5 years ago, I realized that for me as a woman, it is better to have superficial friends so I can maintain all those friendships than being close to either one of them. Because when you have superficial friendships, I can go to Pilates together with them, I can go grab coffee, we can go to dinner, have a talk. I don't expect them to be there for me when I'm basically dying. I don't have that expectation, and it sounds very sad, but setting those expectations, that brings a lot of drama in your life. And just being happy with their being there sometimes for you when you need to talk, when you need some, you know, female talk in your life, it's great, but expecting more of that, it will also set boundaries with those people. Like, you cannot use me, I'm just wanting to have a good time, we have a talk sometimes, you know, sometimes if I need something, you can do it for me, if you need something, I will help you, we will be there for each other, but have your boundaries. And I feel like that is the best way to maintain friendships. I've also learned that the hard way. Like, friendships of people that were like, you know, we were friends, I liked them, but we're not very close. We would talk each other maybe once every 3 weeks. We would see each other sometimes. We would have drinks sometimes, but we wouldn't be constant in each other's business. We wouldn't tell all our private business. If something would happen to me, this person would not visit me, but maybe they would call me, you know? But I feel like I was so much better at maintaining those friendships without realizing it. Like, some of those people have been in my life for 17 years, 20 years, because we always had our boundaries. And if something major would happen, I would call them and I would talk to them, and they would also call me. But I wouldn't have like these expectations, and they are always there in your life. And you wouldn't even notice it because they're not toxic. But the people that are very close to you, that know your every secret, that you talk to every day or every other day, and you're just constantly sending each other videos and talking and being there together and going on the trips, those female friendships don't tend to end well usually, because they will always end in a fight between resources. One of them is using the other one of them is outshining the other one isn't liking it. Females cannot be friends with each other when the other one is doing better than the other person. It is not possible. It's just not possible. And I have seen that so many times. I have had so many friends that I was getting too close to. And you know, we as women, we love getting close. So sometimes our mistakes is also that when we meet someone we tend to like, or their energy, we like it, we get too close too soon. We start messaging, we start talking every day, hours on the phone, we start sharing our secrets after knowing them for just 2 weeks. And that is a very dangerous thing us women do. Women need to be more distant and have boundaries. And in order, like, if you like this person, be a little bit more distant. Don't go hanging out every day. Don't tell all your secrets from day one, and don't let them know your entire business. You never know how this person is going to be in 5 years from now. This person is not your mother. This person is still an outsider in your life, no matter how much of a friend you want them to be. Let them be a friend and let time show them if they are going to be a friend or not. And I just thought like 5 years ago, I was like, you know what? I don't need any close friends in my life right now. I just want regular friends. I'm going to hang out with them sometimes. I need someone to do this for me, like small little tasks. They can do it for me. And the persons that I want when I'm dying, basically, or something has happened to me, and the person that I want to call me when something like that is my mom, my husband, my family. Like like if I would have had a very close friends, one of my friends, but I have a few very close friends, but they're family, and all the other ones, even though I like them very much, I still have my boundaries with them, so I know our friendships will be forever. Like those are the friendships that I really like. Like sometimes we wouldn't talk to each other for 1 year or 6 months, and then it's like, hey, let's grab some tea. I'm in the country. Let's do this. Let's do this. And we don't have any grudge toward each other, and we help each other. That we don't hold any grudge toward each other. But if I would ask this person that I haven't spoken to in 1 year, who is my friend, and I would need, like, for example, my car broke down and I need someone to help me with, this person would help me. So that's why I'm still having them in my life, because I know that they are still there for me if something happens. But I don't set like these unrealistic expectations, and I don't want it to turn this, I don't want this beautiful relationship to turn into something toxic if we get too close, because that happens a lot. Women are always in competition with each other. I've never met a girl that is not threatened by me when I'm doing better than her. Like, I love how I look, how I love my life, I love everything about it. I'm not Miss Universe, I'm not the prettiest woman on the planet, definitely not. There are a lot of more beautiful and more, you know, academical and smarter, and women that are doing financially, or I don't know what's, way better than me. So many, like billions. But I'm just saying, I'm very happy with how my life is, with how I look. And there are also a lot of male, like there are billions, there are a billion of women who are doing better than me, but there are also a billion of women who are doing less than you, don't look as good as you. And I don't believe in ugly and pretty. I just believe in not being able to take care of yourself, and they don't have the means to, you know, spend money or have the time to look as good as you, or they need to spend the time that you spend on your looks, they need to spend it on taking care of their children or work, and they will envy you for that, and they will hate you for that. Like, I have seen it so many times that me, without speaking, without doing anything, just sitting there and looking pretty, makes a lot of women being threatened by that. They hate you for that. And that is a very good thing, because those women will be like reeled out of your lives. And a lot of women are like that, but themselves away very quickly, because you have also the more difficult ones to spot that are kind of going into your life, and you don't know what kind of person they are until it's too late. So you have like the women who will tell you what kind of person they are from day one. Like, I have had some crazy experiences from women that I wouldn't even know that much, and they would like have so much to say about me and make like an entire drama in the family or in friendship groups, and I'm just like, who is this person again? And they would just feel threatened by, I don't know, how I look or what I'm doing or how my career is going. And that is happening with a lot of women. You can see this again in celebrity tabloids, tearing this and this and this person down because she's like a beautiful model, looking stunning, and we all should celebrate each other. But instead they're tearing the model down. Look, oh, her rib cage look like that, her eye is too wide, her nose is like this. And when it's not a model, when it's an academic woman who's maybe doesn't have a lot of time to take care of her looks, but she's very smart in here, well, she's smart but she looks like this, she looks like this, there's always something. Women always get teared apart, so it's really sad. But again, it's all in our nature. And it's done by men, but it's twice as much done by the women themselves, unfortunately. So what happens that a lot of women, when they level up their looks, their lives, their status, they usually also get rid of all their friends because it's just too toxic. It's the friends cannot handle this person leveling up all of a sudden and being so good and doing so well in life. They cannot be happy because they know, like, when they go out with this person, when they go somewhere with this person is just a threat for every resource that they might possibly find, because this person is doing so well, is being so beautiful. This person is getting all the resources just away from their nose, and no resource will be left for the other person. So they don't want anything to do with it. So what happens is, for example, for me, so what would happen to me was, right now I have like my group of friends that I trust, and I don't really let any new people in. But what I noticed when new people come into my lives, all the friendships that I had in my life that weren't sincere, and that are a lot, I've also had some sincere friendships. And I feel like, to be honest, if I look to, I have had maybe 3 or 4 real friendships in my life with girls, and I think from some of them I was actually the reason our friendships kind of faded, and I was the wrong. So I'm also like a very self-reflective person, so I always admit, like, okay, I was wrong, and it has been years and years ago, but I kind of feel sorry. But I also knew that if I wanted to, I've had some very sincere friendships, and they were amazing women and girls, but I knew I had to kind of stop our friendship chapter in order for me to go on in life and level up. Because as good as the heart they had and as amazing our friendship was, I knew that our friendship would just go down the drain and just go downwards from there. And I thought it would be better to just cut it when the friendship was actually still good than turning those friendships maybe into a very toxic, like, something, sometimes people can be very dangerous. So it's like, I need to just cut these people out of my life, even though I love them very dearly. They're not the people I want anymore in my life, because I want to reach this and this, and I know deep down they're not going to be happy for me. Because I'm an introvert, so I don't really go up to people. So I always know when someone comes up to me and they want to be friends with me, I know something is off. I know that they want to be friends because I have a lot of followers on Instagram, and they want to be famous as well. They want to know my makeup tips. They want to know how I grow my hair and what to do. They want to get introduced to my other friendships groups that are, they're kind of always doing fun things together, and they want to kind of get introduced to my other friends. They want to get introduced into my family that is doing well. They want to, I don't know, it's always something. And especially these last years, so it doesn't end just in high school where it's all petty. Like, I'm in my 30s, and I feel like if you're someone, you're watching this to get more, info on female friendships, and maybe if you don't have any friends, you don't need to feel sorry about that at all. Not having friends is totally okay. And I think the ideal situation is being like me, like having a lot of friends, but very superficial. It's like having no friends, but still when you need friends, they're there, basically. Because I cannot handle and I cannot maintain very intense and very like best friendly relationships at this stage in my life. Like, I have a child, I have a husband, I have a family, and I have a career. It's so hectic and so much drama, and all I need is sometimes to just go to brunch with some girls and talk about this and that. But I don't need things to go deeper than that, because I know it will end up in more toxic behavior. Because I've noticed that with female friendships, I've also had male friendships in my life, and again with my husband, I've seen that also in his workforce. There's a very different dynamic, and there's a different energy, because again, they don't see you as competition. So the relationship you have with men, and with your husband is very different, very different. And does this apply to every female friendship? No, there are very good ones out there. Again, I've had good female friendships out there as well, but I knew that they had to be gone from my life, and I wasn't able to maintain a friendship, and I knew that it would end up in something toxic if I would have let it be something toxic. So usually when female friends want to be friends with someone who is doing very well, who's more beautiful than them, who has an amazing life, who has it all basically, they either are going to come into your lives and tear you down. Sometimes this happens unconsciously and you will not even notice it until a long time. Or they will come into your life to basically become you and do everything that you do because they want exactly your life. And sometimes it can be very scary where they just take away everything from you and leave you just rotting basically on the side of the road. So you need to be very careful because females, they will do everything. So again, this all comes down to children. Women, like I would do everything for my child. Women, you cannot compare a mother's love for her child to any other relationship. Women will do everything for their children. They will kill themselves instantly. So the lengths that women will go in order to get these resources, to provide, to have security for the children, it's immense. And it can be sometimes dangerous too. So because women are very indirect, they don't go directly fighting you. If women fight, they fight you with it comes from every corner and they can really drag you down and it's not nice. And I've gone through a lot of drama, and I noticed as soon as I took my distance, as soon as I had like this wall around me protecting me from all the bad energy, and just having conversation here and there, going to the beach together, but not being too much into each other's lives, not telling them my secrets, and being close to a few of them, that is actually the best way to maintain your female friendships. What a lot of women also say, I don't like friends that are manipulative and are jealous. I don't engage in things like that. So as soon as someone starts behaving like that, they're out of my life. And that is not true because it's in women's nature to be like that. So I've seen that a lot when people complain about this and say that they're not really interested in jealousy and gossip, and then you hear those people gossip actually more than the gossiper themselves. But these people, they know when and where to gossip, compared to the gossiper girl. For example, the person that is known as kind of the gossiper and that you cannot trust. Believe me, you cannot trust anyone, even the women that say, well, we're not this and we're not that. In the no. It's in your nature, okay? You cannot change anything about it. You can kind of dim it, and everyone's character, yes, is different. But when it comes down to female friendships, I've even seen that, like even the best of friends that have been like friends for 40, 50 years, let me reassure you, and if you would ask them, they would deny it because obviously, but I can 100% reassure you that they would have probably been very jealous of each other at some stage of their lives, or maybe their lives have always been kind of going the same path, and that's why they were able to be such good friends their entire lives. But very close friendships without any jealousy, that doesn't happen at all. Sadly, it takes a very mature woman in order to find and form that kind of friendship. And is it out there? Yes, but you always need to, again, keep your distance. Again, I have a lot of friends, but I keep my distance and I don't go into too deep. And it's not only friends that can do this damage to you, also people that are watching you from distance and they can do a lot of harm to you as well when it comes to energy, when it comes to toxic jealousy. And unfortunately, that happens a lot with women. Also, what happens a lot, and a mistake a lot of the women make, is when they become friends with someone, they become friends with the person they imagine this person to be. So they're not letting this person just be the person they are, but they have this image of this person or this ideal friend in their head, and they want this person to be exactly like that. And if this person obviously is not checking all those marks, which probably it isn't, then they get hurt and disappointed at why this person isn't being a good friend. I'm going to drink some tea. Did a lot of talking and my tea is so cold already, but okay. People in their teens get exposed to movies like Mean Girls, or in their 20s, and then in their 30s and 40s to soaps and rom-coms like Friends and stuff like that. And people think that that is very normal, like a group of friends who are always there for each other, and they're in the good and the bad days. And you know, I think Mean Girls really is more showing how mean and vicious women can actually be. But I feel like Friends, for example, rom-coms like Friends, really give a misconception about real life and make people think that everyone should have 5, 6, 7 very close friends who will be there for you in good and bad days and for years to come, and you will all live in the same building and you will all die together. And that is not realistic. Realistically, and so a lot of people, when they are done with college, when they're done with working, or they move to a different country, or something happens in their lives, or they get married, or they get, you know, something, they will feel like a failure because they don't have 6, 7, 8 best friends all lining up to meet with them and go for a drink and hang out in your living room, basically, because that is not realistic. Especially when after graduation or after starting a new job, some people don't have any friends left. And I think you shouldn't feel sad about that, but you should just go out at wherever stage you are in life and just meet new people, and you don't have to be very close with them. I think that is also the key to making a lot of friends. Being very casual and not being hurt by them not showing up or coming half an hour late. Like, I would be like, if my best friend would do that over and over again, I would be very hurt. But if one of my normal friends would behave like that, I wouldn't be hurt. And it is easier to maintain those types of friendships when they're good people and they're not toxic people, but they have like something that you don't like. Because we all in our head have this kind of list of a best friend we want, and if this person doesn't check all the marks, we always get disappointed and we kind of want to give up that friendship. When it's just a casual friend and it's a good person and they check a lot of marks but not all of them, you don't get disappointed and you can maintain this friendship in a very, very, very long time. And by hanging out with this person, you'll get introduced by another person, by another mom, by another friend, and this friend will introduce you to that. And always having just people that you kind of know and you hang out with sometimes is very good and beneficial for you, but you don't need to sit 2 hours on the phone with each other every single day. I think that can become very toxic, and I wouldn't want to have a friend who would call me every single day for 2 hours. Like, I have something better to do than talking to you for 2 hours every day. Yes, I would have done that maybe in college when I was 18 years old. I would have friends like that. Like, you have all the time in the world, and I think you're just, and you know, you have different priorities in life. But right now I would go crazy if someone would call me every day for 2 hours and talk to me. I would just go crazy and I wouldn't be able to handle that. So if you're someone who is at a certain stage in her life and you don't have any friends, just go out there and don't expect, like a lot of people make the very big mistake of expecting to make this best friend and they will do everything together and you're not going to be all alone anymore. No, don't do that. Instead of that, just make regular friends. Just meet new people and have them in your phone, and sometimes go for a drink and meet someone else and meet someone else, and before you know it, you have like this big group of peers who are there for you, and maybe you will find a very good close friend. But again, it's not a necessity, because getting very close to female friends can also lead to a very hard and bad breakup with this female friend. And so you rather have just like this distance between, so if something happens, it's just easy for this person to again get out of your life basically, and get on with your life without any problems. And again, this competition thing and the resources thing, it's not always visible, but again, it is always there. Some people, they like it, you know, they like meeting. Some women, they love it to meet another woman who's doing great, who's doing amazing, because they want to absorb that energy. They want to be like her, and they're happy for this person, not because they're really happy for this person, but they're happy that this person is doing good, because it can also bring good in their lives. Women are always thinking like that. You know, sometimes you heard it a lot, like women who say like, oh, I'm not threatened. You know, I'm not someone who loves bringing other women down and gossiping. I love that women, you know, bring each other up, and I love that my best friend is doing better than me and is doing this and this. Of course you love that your best friend is doing better than you, because you can also benefit from her doing better than you. And of course you love your best friend doing this and this, because you can learn from her doing this and this, and you can learn that new makeup trick that she has learned, so you can also look more beautiful. But in reality, you are still in competition. But women don't realize that. And sometimes they do, but they don't want to admit it. And usually that is also the thing. They don't want to admit it. There's no women who would really be 100% happy for her best friend or her friend who is doing way better than her if it wouldn't benefit her. She's in the life of that best friend because it benefits her, and she loves this person, and she knows this person is there for her. But if you would really go into their mind and read all about it, there is a whole different agenda behind it, believe me. Also, I feel like the more you age, the easier it is to find more sincere friendships, because women, the younger they are, you know, that is also when they are trying to find those resources more, because they want to create a family, they want to provide, they want to have a safe environment for their children. So the younger they are, the more preoccupied young females are with their appearances, with the competition. And the mature and older the women get, the easier they are, and the more they realize it's not all about looks, it's not all about these resources. And then those women are easier to be friends with, because those women are not as much into competition as the women who are still in those thrive of their lives of finding these resources and doing everything to find those resources. Those women I always tend to stay more away from. And usually the women that have more matured and already seen everything in life and already have those resources and have kind of realized that it's not all about your looks and it's not all about this and this, those are the women it's the easiest to be friends with, because they don't have like a hidden agenda or a hidden competition thing going on with being friends with you. They sincerely just need someone to vent to talk about, have a cup of coffee, and you know, talk about the day, and then go on with their lives. And those are the friendships, like when you come to a certain point in your life, I value the most and I love them, because those are the women who are really there for you when you need them, but they also don't set expectations and boundaries. There's no toxicity, there's no drama. But again, for females to reach that point, it takes a lot of time and maturity to finally realize that not everything in life should be in competition for resources. So when you have a friend that you maybe think is friends with you for the wrong reasons, or another friendship that you're kind of doubting, don't blame it on this friend and don't victimize yourself, because just think that it's all in our nature and maybe you have a little bit of that too. And try, like, it's also better, like, even if you have those type of friendships, you don't need to ban them from your life. But watching this video and knowing that it's all in our nature and just understanding those types of friendships better is also actually a great tool in order to maintain those friendships and not expecting too much of it, and knowing how to protect yourselves in order from those relationships to not harm you in any way. So I think it's very, like, as soon as you really realize that why female friendships are a certain way and why you do not find the right person or the right friendship, or why everything is always going in the wrong direction, maybe watching this video and understanding how it works kind of gets you out of that victim role and puts you more in a role like, okay, yeah, I'm open to all these different types of friendships, and now I kind of understand why this and this person is behaving that way, and it's not me, it's not them, it's just nature, and I'm going to make the best of it. So I hope this video was helpful. I love talking about this subject. Like, I can talk about this subject for hours and hours at the table, and it's also with like my husband. So not only with women, I love talking about this subject for hours with other people. And I've noticed with all the people that I've talked to, and I've talked to people about this like from different countries, from different age. Like, I've talked to people in their 20s, in their 60s, in their 70s even. I've even had a woman in her 80s give me advice, and all the women gave me the same kind of advice about friendship. And of course there are sincere friendships out there, it's not that they don't exist, but just be more aware of the energy and the reason why women are the way they are, and why sometimes female friendships just don't work out, and why sometimes they are able, and why sometimes they do work out. It's more about where the mindset of this female person is, what are her goals, and what does she want in life, and where is this person standing in life. So my tea has got a really cold, like, I have brewed a lot of green tea and it's all cold right now because I talked so much, but I think I kind of talked about everything I wanted to talk to in this video. Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe to my channel to support me. That would mean so much to me. And if this video was helpful, maybe you can leave a comment. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!